Hello everybody and welcome back to Bandwagon Sports. Today I am back here on Cat Friendly for my June edition 2021 NHL mock draft, and I wanted to wait to make this video until the draft lottery was done. As you can see, Buffalo, Seattle, Anaheim, the teams have new orders, and again we are going to be doing a top 15 mock draft simulation here on Cat Friendly. So I really do hope you all enjoy, and let's hop into today's episode. Starting here at number 1 with the Buffalo Sabres, I have them taking the same player as last time. If you're one of the, almost 2,000 people that watched that video, I have them taking Michigan center Matthew Beniers, and I think that this is a really great pick for them, a really smart pick as well in a weaker draft class where they get a guy who they may need depending if Jack Eichel and Sam Reinhart leave or stay. And I am really sorry that this Wi-Fi is really bad, but there's really not much I can do about that. But Matthew Beniers is going to Buffalo. Really good, skilled two-way center that I think can play both sides of the puck really well. And honestly, like I said, a guy that Buffalo may need in the future, especially if Jack Eichel gets traded, especially if Sam Reinhart doesn't want to come back. Casey Middlestat probably isn't going to be living up to his potential, and Dylan Cousins I see more as a winger on that team. So Matthew Beniers goes to the Buffalo Sabres. Let's move on to number 2, the Seattle Kraken. Okay, everyone, pick number 2 now, the Seattle Kraken, and this is where my mock draft deviates. Last time I had Seattle picking Jesper Wallstedt, and I think that still would be the smartest option for them to take. I have them taking defenseman Owen Power. I think that if Buffalo doesn't take Owen Power and they take Beniers like I think they should, Owen Power is probably the next best option for them. And just a great defenseman, good size, good offensive abilities. The defense is okay. It is suspect at time, but it'll definitely pass. Again, he's going to an NHL system where he can learn and develop and train, and I think that's really going to be a great thing for Owen Power to develop into a, legitimate top 2 defenseman in the NHL one day. And yes, I do have him going here at number 2 to the Seattle Kraken. So let's move on to number 3, the Anaheim Ducks. Alright everyone, here at number 3, the Anaheim Ducks, the Ducks of Anaheim. I have this being kind of an interesting pick. I mean, there's a lot of players who they can go with, but I think that they take Swedish defenseman Simon Edvinsson, and I think this is a really great player for the Ducks to build around. Definitely another defenseman to add to that group, like Jamie Drysdale, Josh Mahura, Axel Anderson, just a few really good prospects on the defensive side already, and I do think that Anaheim does need to prepare for the future with guys like Cam Fowler and Hampus Lindholm not getting any younger. So I think that one day Edvinsson and Drysdale might actually be a good pairing, like Fowler and Lindholm as pairing similar to that, where Drysdale can fill the role for Fowler, and Edvinsson can kind of be that Lindholm defenseman. And I do think Edvinsson has a lot more offensive pop than Lindholm. He can't pass the puck to save his life, but I definitely do think Simon Edvinsson is a good prospect for the Ducks, and I think that they take him here at number 3. So let's move on to number 4, the New Jersey Devils. Alright everybody, now here at number 4, the New Jersey Devils, and last time I had them taking William Eklund, I would really agree with the William Eklund pick, but after looking it over, I think that they take Canadian defenseman Brandt Clarke, and Brandt Clarke is a really great player, good, versatile, two-way kind of defenseman. Struggles a little bit with the physicality, but he definitely looked a lot more, into the physical game over in Slovakia this year for HC, whatever it was. But he had a really, really solid season in Slovakia for a 17, 18-year-old draft-eligible player, and, just really impressed me. And New Jersey really does need some defense prospect, especially more on the defensive side of things. I mean, they do have Kevin Ball and Nikita Okhotiuk, both guys coming from the Ottawa 67s, but, I definitely do think that those guys are going to be fringe top 4, more of like a 5-6 kind of pair right there on the defensive side. So I think that Brandt Clarke here is the pick for New Jersey. Let's go on to number 5, to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Okay, at 5 here for the Columbus Blue Jackets, you really have to get into the mind of Jarmo Kekalainen with this pick, and I do think that he's going to go after this player. The Columbus Blue Jackets at 5 select Aatu Räty from Finland, and I think that Aatu Räty is just a perfect Jarmo Kekalainen player, honestly. He's a good center, who was ranked number 1 at the beginning of the year, but obviously has faltered quite low. There are a lot of questions with his offensive game, and whether that's going to develop or not. But I do think that Jarmo Kekalainen will be willing to take a chance on Aatu Räty here. He's a perfect Columbus Blue Jackets center. Great defensive game, defensive mind, and honestly, if he can get that defensive game to follow even a little bit, I think that this is a good pick for Columbus here at 5. Just a guy that they kind of really need to take. At least positionally, they definitely need a center in this draft. And I think that Aatu Räty is a good fit for the Blue Jackets. Maybe not at 5, maybe if they are a little bit lower, but I definitely do see Jarmo Kekalainen going off the board a little bit here at this position. He usually does, so that is why I am having Aatu Räty go to the Blue Jackets at number 5. So let's move on to Detroit Red Wings at number 6. Alright, now we got Detroit at number 6, and with this number 6 spot, I think there's multiple ways they could go, honestly. But with Jesper Wallstedt falling this far to them in this mock draft, I have them taking him. They do have some decent goalie prospects in the system already, like Caden Fulcher and a few Swedish guys as well. But I think that Jesper Wallstedt is going to be the real deal. And honestly, just a really kind of the bigger need that the Detroit Red Wings have right now is goaltender. I think they have really solid prospects at every other position. Defense, wing, center, and I think that they just need to really develop, and I think that goaltender is really the only one weakness where the Detroit Red Wings don't have a legit number 1 prospect. So Jesper Wallstedt's a great fit here at 6. You got to take the chance on the guy, especially in a weaker draft class like this where a franchise-level goaltender is available, and this is just a really great pick. I think Steve Yzerman's going to jump the gun for this one, and let's move on to number 7, the San Jose Sharks. Alright everybody, here at number 7, the San Jose Sharks. This is another interesting pick. I think a lot of different ways they can go, but I have them taking American-born defenseman Luke Hughes, and I think this is a really great pick, and it makes a lot of sense for the San Jose Sharks because Marc-Edouard Vlasic's getting old, Brent Burns is getting old, and you really, really desperately do want to try to replace a guy like Brent Burns, and I really don't see any prospects in the system right now that have close to the potential to replace a guy like Brent Burns or really even Marc-Edouard Vlasic at his prime. And I think that Luke Hughes will add a lot of defensive depth to this team, just really a guy that you can pretty much count on for the next 10 to 15 years. I don't really know how far his two-way game comes, but if you can develop Luke Hughes into a scoring two-way defenseman, then you got yourself a pretty damn good player here. And this is a really good pick for the San Jose Sharks overall. Like I said, lots of different ways they can go with this pick, but Luke Hughes really does make sense for them. So let's move on to number 8, the Los Angeles Kings. Okay, here at number 8, to the LA Kings, I have them taking Swedish winger William Eklund. And again, I sound like a broken record. A pick that I think makes a lot of sense, honestly. William Eklund is a pretty much perfect fit for the LA Kings if he falls this far. Just a really awesome player that, honestly, with all the centers that they already have, Turcotte, Velarde, Byfield, Kupari, like, the list goes on and on. They don't really have any big-time wingers to play there, and, the really only big one is Arthur Kaliev, and I think William Eklund could be a great fit, a first-line winger at his potential, and I think that on a line with Byfield or Turcotte or Kupari or whoever, I think that Eklund could be a great complementary player. I've seen, comparisons go around like Patrick Kane, where he really does have that explosiveness. He really can be that really great scoring option at 5'10" as well, and I think this is a great pick for the Kings. That really does make sense for them. Really just adding a great winger, a legitimate number 1 wing prospect to the team as well, and, just a really good pick. So let's move on to number 9, the Vancouver Canucks. Now at number 9, we have the Vancouver Canucks, and I think that the positional need here is obvious for the Canucks. It is defense, so I have them taking Russian defenseman Daniil Chaika, and Daniil Chaika will probably be more of a defensive-minded defenseman at the NHL, which I think is perfect for the Vancouver Canucks, and he is ranked here at 30th. I do think that he will be picked inside the top 20, honestly. I think there's just really not a lot of defensive options for teams in this draft. And Daniil Chaika could go a load of places, but I really do think it makes sense for the Canucks to grab him here with the defensive woes this season and really a lackluster defensive prospect pool, that is, sorry. outside of the NHL, and I really do think that Chaika can add a good amount of defense to that blue line, as well as some complementary offense, maybe a 30-point guy at his peak, but definitely a solid top 4 potential option for the Vancouver Canucks to draft here at number 9, and I really don't see any better option for them. There's really not a lot of players I think they need to pursue here at the number 9 spot, so perfect, time for them to go after a defenseman, and Daniil Chaika is the pick. Now at number 10, I have the Ottawa Senators, and with this pick, I think there's a few different players they could go after, but the one I'm choosing is Swedish winger Fabian Lysell, who has somehow dropped this far. I definitely see Fabian Lysell as the top 10 prospect in this draft. He has all the skills to do it, and I really do think that this is a case like Alexander Holtz and Lucas Raymond, where the stats kind of do mislead you because of the minutes played, but really just a really great versatile winger, and he can definitely play a two-way game. I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't notice with Lysell, is that he's not a one-sided offensive player. He can play both ends of the ice very effectively, and he's flashing the offensive zone. He really shuts down his game in the defensive zone, and overall a really skilled two-way forward who has the potential to be a good first-line 70-point scorer one day. And I think for a team like Ottawa, getting a good elite complementary winger like a Fabian Lysell to play beside a Tim Stützle or Josh Norris one day could really be of benefit to them, and I think this pick makes sense. So number 11 is Arizona, who forfeit their pick, so the next pick will be Chicago at 12. Let's get into that one. Okay, so now at pick number 12, the Chicago Blackhawks. I really do have one player in mind for them at this number 12 spot, and that is Russian center Fyodor Zvechkov. And honestly, this draft class is the perfect excuse to grab a player like Fyodor Zvechkov, and I think he is a perfect selection for the Blackhawks here at 12. A potential Jonathan Toews replacement one day, I think. I don't think he's going to be as good as Jonathan Toews, probably more as a top 6 Jonathan Toews, but a really good Chicago Blackhawks player who plays well in the defensive zone. He has an elite defensive game, just like Anton Lundell last year. You could make the comparison of Zvechkov to Lundell, and I think he has a pretty good offensive game as well. He showed it in the VHL this year. He played 36 or 37 games in the VHL, had himself 17 points, which is the second league in Russia, which is basically the Russian AHL, and that's not bad at all if you ask me. Definitely showing his offensive skill, and he stayed up in that VHL for, nearly 40 games, so Fyodor Zvechkov is clearly above, a lot of the other Russian players in this draft class, and I think that he really does show his maturity out on the ice. His two-way presence, just can really lock down the defensive zone and really kind of control the play in the defensive zone if he wants to, and I think this is a perfect pick for the Chicago Blackhawks here at number 12. So next is the Calgary Flames at 13, so let's go on to that pick. So now, moving on to number 13, the Calgary Flames Canadian team, and I think they go with a Canadian player in Cole Sillinger, who is currently playing over in the USHL, and he is a very good player over there. Honestly, just a really good offensive force. Calgary is definitely looking to replace Sean Monahan on that first line, and I don't know if Cole Sillinger has the potential to be a first-line guy, but I definitely do think that he can help the situation over there in Calgary, at least some of the offensive issues, and just a really great dynamic offensive player. Great shot, great pass, good hockey mind, just a really overall good balanced offensive player, and he's really shown it in the USHL this year. I definitely think he deserves to be drafted in the top 15, and I have him going here at 13 to the Calgary Flames. So the next pick is 14, the Philadelphia Flyers. Let's go on to that one. Okay, so here at number 14 to the Philadelphia Flyers, I have them taking Canadian winger Dylan Guenther, and as you can see, he is the third ranked prospect, and he's going off the board here at number 14. I just think that there's players above that, will go to the other teams above, and Dylan Guenther would be an excellent player for Philadelphia to grab here at 14 if he falls, which I don't really think he will, but in this mock draft he does, and Dylan Guenther is a good Philadelphia Flyers player. He has that good size, he has the scoring ability to replace a guy like Jakub Voracek one day potentially, and I know they do have Travis Konechny and Oscar Lindblom, Joel Farabee, but I really do think that Dylan Guenther could add to that dynamic top 6 wing group and really honestly be a good first liner. And also what I really like about Dylan Guenther's game is he's really a great, intimidator. He's a Tom Wilson type of player where he, interrogates other players and just really gets in their face, just a really pest kind of player like Tom Wilson. And I don't think he's going to be anything near Tom Wilson level of, thuggish, but I definitely do think Dylan Guenther is a good Broad Street bully type of player where he can kind of get in players' faces and, do it all. He can score, he can bite, he has somewhat of a defensive ability, but I really do think that the offense and the, old mean street kind of Philadelphia Flyers presence on Dylan Guenther is really going to draw attention to him for the Philadelphia Flyers. So I have him going 14 to the Flyers. So the last pick, actually we have 2 more picks in this draft, 15 and 16, the Stars and the Rangers. So let's move on to pick 15, the Dallas Stars. Okay, 15 to the Dallas Stars. This one may be a bit of an unexpected pick, but I have Dallas taking American winger Sasha Pastujov, and Sasha Pastujov is just so amazingly underrated. I'm going to click on his profile here for you guys because I just want you to see this. Very, very good player. He was born actually in United States, which is awesome, and this year he actually put up 91 points, and this guy's only ranked usually in the 20s, but I just think that Sasha Pastujov is a awesome offensive player, and with a lot of Dallas's, main core players like Jamie Benn and Joe Pavelski getting older, and Tyler Sagan's 30 years old now as well, so they definitely could go with Ken Johnson at this spot, but I think Sasha Pastujov is really just a great winger to come in for Dallas. I really don't see anyone other than Nick Robertson who, can play the wing, and I'm going to check right now in my handy-dandy notebook. But, there's really no other ringers, and I think I said Nick Robertson. I meant Jason Robertson. You got Dennis Gurianov, but really at center, you do have Ty Dellandre, who can be a good, first-line center one day potentially for the Stars. And I really do think Sasha Pastujov makes sense here for them, just with that aging winger. I also forgot to add Alexander Radulov. He's getting up there in age as well, and they really need to start building around that wing position. And I think here at 15, Sasha Pastujov, a homegrown American-born boy, is a good way to start. So let's move on to the last pick of this draft, number 16. So for the final pick of this mock draft, I have the New York Rangers, and this is a player more for depth, and I have them taking Canadian winger Zachary Leroux, and he currently plays in the QMJHL, but kind of a power forward type player who I think the Rangers can probably utilize in that bottom 6. And when you really look at the Rangers going forward, they have that top 6 constructed already in prospects. And I think here at 16, just on the fringe of playoff berth, a player like Zachary Leroux could really help them develop that bottom 6. Just a really good power forward. Has that complementary scoring touch and a solid defensive game. It didn't really show in the plus-minus this year, a minus 19, I believe. But plus-minus is an overrated stat, and I don't really like to use it that much. And, just honestly not a waste of a pick here at all. You're using it for something that you need, which is, some more grit for that bottom 6, and Zachary Leroux can add a lot of that to the Rangers one day as a cup contender in 5 or 6 years, and I think this is honestly a solid pick for the Rangers if they get him here at 16. So that is all 16 picks, so let's end this video. Okay, so that is going to do it. There's guys like Ken Johnson and Chaz Lucius that are still available that I am surprised are still available, but this is how I really do see things going as of this point right now. Again, right before the draft, this was probably going to change, but you can see all my picks right here from 15 or 16 to 1 and from 1 to 16. So tell me how I did in the comment section below. Again, I want to say thank you for all the support on the May mock draft. 1.8k views almost now. That is awesome. I did not expect that video to do so well. So thank you all who are returning to this video from that one, who watched that video. So really thankful for that. I hope this video can, get anywhere close to that video. That would be awesome. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I really do enjoy doing these, and I will be having one coming out right before the draft, probably a week or so before the draft, so be on the lookout for that. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.